So initially, this video was going to be me making a blouse. So I attempted the blouse. It was a really old pattern in really good condition. I was so proud of it and excited to get it done, but the instructions were all in French. Also, I knew I needed to do a full bust adjustment after my last ill-fitting make. I decided it was time to start making my clothing to fit me and fit me well. I didn't want to damage this pattern, and it also needed seam allowance added, which I hadn't done before, so I traced it off onto craft paper. I pulled up full bust adjustment tutorials, I had lunch, and then I decided this was more work than I wanted to do on this day. Which brings us to the dress that I am wearing now. I love this dress. It was a very quick, fun dress to sew up. I definitely recommend this as a beginner sewing project, especially if you want to get into vintage sewing and don't know where to start. This dress is something that you can sew if you've never sewn anything before. So definitely recommend this as a beginner sewing project. So this video is going to be more of a tutorial than I normally do. I'm always sewing true vintage patterns, and those can be hard for other people to find. They're usually like one-offs if you get lucky. This is a vintage reproduction pattern, which was a copy of a dress from 1953. It's a Butterick B5708. It's readily available everywhere. I will leave links in the description box below in case you want to sew this up. I definitely recommend it. It is a very, very beginner friendly sewing project, especially if you want to get into sewing vintage. You can sew this dress if you've never sewn anything before, and you can sew it fairly quickly. So I'm just going to walk you through the making of it. Thank you for being here. If you like the video, you know all of that. Oh, I never say this, but turn on your notification bell so you can be notified when I post a new video. I'm trying to get to a Sunday schedule, but things happen. Let's get into the making of this vintage reproduction summer dress. So I sewed view B because I wanted the back to be a contrast. It's a solid pink, you'll see in the final photos, that coordinates with the pink print on the front of the dress. And I got this fabric from Hobby Lobby for a really, really good price. Every other week their fabric is on sale 30% off. So that's something to keep in mind when shopping for fabric. You have to just catch them on the week it's on sale. So if you look at the pattern envelope, there are a couple different ways you can wear this dress. They're all made the same, but you can do the one shoulder or push the straps more off your shoulder or completely down as a strapless. So this dress does have a lot of versatility. So as I said, for the dress, I'm doing version B with the contrasting back. There are only 5 pieces. So I got them all out of the envelope. So piece 1, you're going to cut 2. Piece 2, you're going to cut 4. Piece 3, you're going to cut 4. Piece 4, you're going to cut 2, and this is where I chose to do the contrasting fabric. And piece 5, you're going to cut 4.
Live your life within the moment, and don't go wait until the morning. You never know when it is over. All that I know is we'll get older. So let us dance this night away.
And after you've cut out all your pieces, and there were only 5 pieces, which let me know that this was going to be a pretty painless make, and that's how I know that it will be really good for beginners. There's not a lot to get confused with or a lot of different pieces that you have to work with. I will say the pattern does not tell you to do the lining of the bodice as you go, but it's something I definitely would recommend just to make the process go a lot quicker. But I will say I didn't do it that way, but when I did go to sew the lining, since I already knew what I was doing, it did go pretty quickly. And the lining actually fit me a little tighter than the actual bodice does. And so I would probably make that a little bigger. It makes it a little difficult for me getting in and out of the dress. I cut a size 16, and I possibly could have done a 14 with the bodice, but the lining needed to be a little bigger. So that's a thing you want to keep in mind when using this pattern. So step 1 is going to be with piece number 1, which is the bodice front, and you're going to ease stitch the lower edge of one of these pieces between the small circle. The remaining bodice front section will be used as the lining. Next, you're going to stitch the 2 front midriff sections together, ending at the large circle.
Oh, I feel so alive. As I reach out to the sky. I found my way. I was in the dark against it all, but made it through the day, 'cause I found my way.
You're going to pin the midriff to the lower edge of the bodice front. Here you're going to adjust the ease and baste it and then stitch it, pivoting at the large circle.
Nothing to hold me back, take my time, just enjoy the ride. I know, man, passing by, life is good, best I've ever felt. Get me up, somewhere new, somewhere I can find myself. Oh, I feel so alive.
So next you're going to take piece number 3, which is the midriff back sections, and you're going to stitch those together and then stitch them to the back the same way you did the front.
I found my way. I was in the dark against it all, but made it through the day, 'cause I found my way.
Then you're going to pin the midriff back to the back piece, which is piece number 4, and you're going to stitch this all together the same way you did the front. And here you see I have my back section and my front section, both with the midriff pieces pinned. I'm going to take those to the sewing machine and get them stitched at the very same time. Next, I worked on the skirt, which is very simple. It was a very simple skirt to construct. You're going to stitch the pieces together at center front, at center back, and then at the sides, making sure to leave the right side open above the notches for the zipper. I did neglect to mention that there will be gathering. So what you see me doing here is on all 4 of the pieces, gathering them down at the top between the seam lines. And then I pinned everything together to get ready to go to the sewing machine. For the front, you stitch the 2 skirt front sections together, the same for the back, and then you stitch all of those sections together. And you're going to leave an opening on the right side above the notch, and this is going to be for the zipper. Once I did all that, I wanted to work on the hem of the dress. I don't often step outside of my comfort zone or try new techniques or use new presser feet that came with my baby lock machine. I know that it does all of these wonderful things, but I'm often too scared to make the machine do it or to push myself to do it. But this time I decided to blind hem the skirt and use the blind hem presser foot. It took a little bit to figure out exactly how the fabric was supposed to be folded for this blind hem, but once I did, I was so in love with the effect. On the outside of the garment, you can't really see it, but the stitches only show up every so many centimeters, and when they do, they're very, very small. And I like this because I didn't get that wrinkly hem that I sometimes get, and so I will definitely be doing more blind hems with the blind hem foot more often. And so here is some footage of me finishing up stitching all of those skirt panels together. And then afterwards is when I moved on to the hem. I don't think this is necessarily the order in which the instructions tell you to go, but it's the way that I did it. And here is that hem. I really wish you could see the stitches, but I think that's the beauty of it, is you cannot really see the stitches. It looks so good. I really love the effect of using this presser foot. It is super interesting how it somehow manages to get the stitches down inside of there where they are not really visible on the outside of the garment. So then I had to attach the skirt to the bodice and get the lining put in. The lining took the longest, doing all of the stitching around, so that way the straps are covered. And so here is the lining for the dress. They instruct you to hem the bottom of it, and so I did that. It fit a little bit tighter. I will definitely make it bigger the next time I make this dress. And here is the skirt all gathered down with the bodice pinned to it. You attach the lining after you put in the zipper and all of that. And so I found a really cute pink zipper in my stash, and I love the effect that it gave to the dress, and it was pretty easy to get assembled. And so once the zipper is in, that's when you attach the lining to the bodice. And so this was like one of the longest parts of making this garment. It was just getting everything pinned in place. I really wanted to make sure everything matched up well. You have to be really careful because where the lining folds in on the bodice at the place under the arm, if you take the stitches down too far past the square, you will have trouble there. So that is something to keep in mind. Just make sure you're really ending those stitches where those marks go so you don't have a lot of trouble out of getting the lining to lay smooth into the bodice of the dress.
In the dark against it all, but made it through the day, 'cause I found my way. I found my way. In bad times, I know I'll be okay, 'cause I found my way.
So I will say that there are a few alterations that I do wish I had made to this pattern, and I will do when I make this dress again, which I'm sure I will. It took about 2 days and just a few hours each day, and so there are definitely some changes that I would make. One, the waist is a little long for me, so if you have a short torso like me, you might want to raise the waist a little bit, and there is a line on that pattern piece to show you where to raise it, or lengthen it if you need to. A lot of people do not like vintage reproduction patterns, but I must say this one was really well made. The instructions were easy to follow. There was only 5 pieces, so there wasn't a lot going on there. And if you're ever in need of just a sewing win in a really cute dress, I definitely recommend this Butterick pattern. It is so comfortable, and I think it's super versatile depending on what kind of fabrics you use, what kind of dress you can have. Like this easy cotton, I have a really cool summer day dress, but it can be done in something fancier. And so I'm really excited to add this dress to my wardrobe. I love the fact that I'm starting to make things that I really love and that I want to wear out. And so I'm excited to wear this one. I'm proud of the fact that I used a blind hem presser foot and tried something new. I will go back to that full bust adjustment and that French pattern that you've seen at the beginning of this video, as that's really what I am trying to do here, is learn to sew. So if you have any suggestions for techniques you think I should try or anything you would love to see me make, then please feel free to share that in the comment box below. And I thank you for being here. Do me a favor and give this video a share and get more eyes on my channel. I would definitely appreciate it. And so with all of that said, I'm going to now show you the final pictures of this very beginner-friendly sewing project. Summer dress, vintage reproduction from a 1953 original pattern. Yeah, that. A beautiful summer dress.
'Cause I found my way. 'Cause I found my way, my way, my way. Found my way, my way. 'Cause I found my way, my way, my way. Found my way, my way. I found my way, I found my way. I was in the dark against it all, but made it through the day. 'Cause I found my way, I found my way. times, I know I'll be okay. 'Cause I